Nabby, stop, come on. Nab, come on. First question, what was it like starting your own business? Can you speak about challenges and fears you faced? And what do you hope for your business in 5 years? It was scary, but exciting at the same time. There's just so much you don't know, and there's so much potential and opportunity, but at the same time that lends to a lot of self-doubt, which is probably one of the greatest challenges I faced. It's hard to believe in yourself when there is so much in the back of your head telling you what you could go wrong, but I think for any business owner, even for any creative or freelancer, you just always have to kind of believe in your work. So for me, that was one of the hardest challenges about having a business, that and paperwork. What do I hope for New Classics in 5 years? Eventually an in-house label for New Classics, to grow our team, and to, I don't know, just keep doing what I love. Next question, what's it like being a clothing brand? It's fun, stressful, and exhausting. You have to see so many brands in such a short time, but at the same time, you get to see so many beautiful clothes, so there's a give and take, I guess. What do I do for a living? I work on New Classics full-time, and in my part-time, I make videos and write on my blog. How do I research which places to visit when I'm traveling? It's a good question. I don't reference TripAdvisor, Yelp, or any of those things, just because they've never been trustworthy. So what I like to do is search hashtags on Instagram, because that's where all the locals are posting, that's where all the foodies are posting. So if you're looking for any cafes or restaurants, I definitely recommend searching hashtags. Otherwise, generally we like to just take it pretty easy and go with the flow when we're traveling. So we're not researching too much. How did I channel my creativity in college/university when I was a science major? Through my blog. That was probably the main reason I started one, was just because there was such a lack of creativity in what I was doing. Not to say that chemistry isn't fun and all, but sometimes you just want to wear beautiful clothes. And so that's how I stayed creative. How do I record sounds for my films, stories, videos? I actually don't record them, I just find them on Soundbite. I find them on Soundbite websites, so it's a little hack for you. My favorite and least favorite lipstick. As of right now, this Make, it's actually a Madeline collaboration with Make, and so this is a lip and cheek stick, and it's amazing. It stays on forever, so for the cheeks, I just like to dab a little bit. But then same with the lips. And I can eat like 3 full meals and this won't come off. As for my least favorite, I don't think I have one. Next question. What inspires me to dress every day? Things I see online or magazines, but most recently and most importantly, K-pop groups. How do I get inspired for my content and editing style? I actually don't watch that much YouTube, but I do watch videos on Nowness, which I found to be pretty great when it comes to looking for new ideas. So they have a bunch of different series and categories, fashion being one of them. I highly recommend it if you need some inspiration for videos. They do have some really great creators on here. How did I build my wardrobe and style in the way that it is now? Any tips? I built my wardrobe more so around investment pieces that I love and plan on wearing for the next 5-10 years. So tips for you who are looking to invest in pieces yourself, I would say number one, make sure that you always sleep on your purchases so that they're never purchased with the wrong intention. Number two, rate it out of 10. So that's something I like to do, and it just makes me quantify how much I love something. So if it's not a 9 or a 10 above, 9 or 10 out of 10, then I usually just don't buy it. What do I do on days that I don't feel the greatest mentally? I think it's really important that you listen to your body. So on the days that I just feel like doing nothing, or the days that I'm more burnt out, then I will take an entire day to sit at home, watch Netflix, play video games, or I will go to yoga that evening. The second part of the question is, how do I overcome that and stay motivated? Again, just listening to your body and making sure that you get enough sleep, enough rest, just doing things that make you feel good, a lot of self-care. What is my favorite fragrance? It'll always be the Le Labo Santal 33, but recently I've been really liking this like Tom Ford White Suede, mostly because it smells like soap. What are some tips for those trying to create an online store, specifically one that sells vintage? It is a lot of work, so you be prepared to do your research and do a lot of it. Don't be afraid to ask people questions. If possible, I would even recommend working at an online store or a boutique just to help get some experience. I don't know, there's a lot of work into an online store, so I think just be prepared to work your butt off. Specifically for one that sells vintage, just make sure that your vintage is good. What are some hair shampoo and conditioner recommendations? I'm probably not the best person to ask about this, but I've been using Kiehl's. They have like an amino acid shampoo conditioner, and that's been doing pretty well for me. But if there's one thing I can recommend, it would be the Kevin Murphy Young Again hair oil, because that thing has saved my hair so many times. What is my favorite sustainable fashion brand? For the season, it's Shampoo. Tips for soon-to-be college grads on how to jumpstart their careers. For me, the one thing that really pushed me to start New Classics was working part-time at a boutique, because that really gave me the experience and the confidence to do what I do now, essentially. So I think that if you know what kind of career you're going for, then just start applying to as many job opportunities as possible, or intern and get all the experience you need, because that experience will just prove to be invaluable down the road. When shopping secondhand, how do you ensure that the quality of the materials are ethical, sustainable, and are worthwhile? Inherently, thrifting is sustainable just because you're giving clothes a second life and you're preventing them from ending up in the landfill. Whether or not the clothes that you pick are going to last for a long time, that is another question. So when we go thrifting, one thing that we try to do is make sure that the clothes that we find are high quality. And inherently, vintage clothes will be higher quality just because they were made with more intention. One thing I like to do is I like to look at the seams and give them a tug, see if they're going to fall apart. But otherwise, a lot of vintage items will have, it'll have the fabrics listed, so it'll be able to tell you whether or not it's cotton or polyester. Please do keep in mind a lot of vintage pieces are made from polyester, so unless you're strictly going for natural fabrics, don't let that discourage you from buying a well-made piece of clothing. How do I plan my weekly routines, and do I follow a similar routine every week or day? I write all of our appointments or just things to do in my moleskin, and then from there we kind of build our day around what we need to do. Each day is quite different, which is the nice thing about our line of work, but we always make sure to have breakfast, and then from there we'll run errands or go to the studio, so it's constantly changing. How do I edit my videos? I use Adobe Premiere Pro. If I'm doing my stop motion films though, I use a mixture of Photoshop, Lightroom, and Premiere Pro. But that's just the short story, so I think I'll probably do another video on that. Last question, do you know of any inexpensive but quality skincare routines? Again, I'm probably not the best person to ask for this, but I did use soap and water for the longest time, so maybe that counts. Otherwise, I'm not too sure. Sorry about that.
Okay, one more question from @EricDYoon. What do you do to spend time with your dogs?
Cuddle. Is that it? Say thank you. Thanks for all the questions, guys. I'm sorry if I missed yours or I didn't answer it. Feel free to ask me more questions in the comments and I'll try to reply as soon as possible. See ya.